Varna is not something that you inherit by birth. If Varna is something fit to be talked of in the Upanishads, then surely Varna cannot relate to the body. It is body identification that the Upanishads scoff at. Then how can they patronize body-based Varna? But that's exactly what the ego does. It turns Varna into something that relates to your body, something that you inherit from your bodily parents. It turns Varna into jati. And Varna and jati are very different. The difference has to be understood. Jati relates to jat. Jat means the born one. The born one is also called jat. So jati relates to the birth of the body. It relates to the body because the body is the born one. Whereas Varna, in the spiritual sense, relates to the quest of the consciousness for the unborn one. Varna was meant to signify how far you have succeeded in elevating your consciousness. Because that is the whole point of life. That's the entire purpose. You have been given this life. Oh, forget that kind of usage of words. If you have this life, then the best, rather the only use, is elevation of consciousness. Because it is consciousness that suffers. Because it is consciousness that must have a purpose. Because it is consciousness that is embroiled in all kinds of purposes. Therefore, the real purpose has to be the sublimation of consciousness itself. And that's what Varna was used or supposed to be used to indicate. But what did the ego do with it? The ego said, why engage in the elevation of the self? Simply turn the Varna system into a hereditary thing that will relieve us of any obligation to elevate the consciousness. I'll simply say, I am born a Brahmin. I'm already there. I do not need to work on myself. I'm already a Brahmin, you see. Or I would say, I'm not a Brahmin. So anyway, the obligation to live a godly life is not upon me. I'm not a Brahmin. I belong to one of the other castes with a different set of roles and responsibilities. I'll be a trader, a serviceman, a potter. A goldsmith, an ironsmith, or a warrior. What has been ordained for me. Now, all can have fun. The one who is already a Brahmin need not be serious about his upliftment because he is already a Brahmin. The one who is a potter or a cobbler or a warrior need not think about elevation of the self because you see, I am just a poor cobbler. What do I have to do with Atma Paramatma? Or I am a warrior. Ideal in blows. Ideal in blood. What is this consciousness thing? What are you talking of? Are you getting it? The disciple is being warned. Anything that you touch, you will destroy it. Varna is a bondage because ultimately you will be the one who will run that system. Ashram too is a bondage. How is the ashram system a bondage? The ashram system, it has to be remembered, is ultimately for your sake. You are not for the sake of the ashram system. No system is an end in itself. Only man, his consciousness, his welfare is an end. This is the first principle. This is the first evident reality. Because we are talking for our sake. We are not just talking. Even in the Upanishad, there is a very clear purpose. Freedom from suffering. Therefore, whatever man constructs or thinks of or writes or says or conceptualizes is not just random. It has to have a purpose. And what is the purpose? Upliftment of man's consciousness. It doesn't matter what you are doing. Every single action must carry that one single purpose. All is for our sake. So there is this guideline that is provided, and the guideline says first 25 years you must wholeheartedly engage in studies, and then you can live a family life for the next 25 years. And then you must disengage from family affairs for the next 25 years and meditate and contemplate while living in the house. And once you have reached 75, you must quit the house altogether and proceed towards the jungle. And that is where you must live a solitary life of meditation, tapashcharya, and blissfully, slowly give up the body. Now, this is meant to be a guideline towards emancipation. It has to be remembered that ultimately the objective is liberation. For that objective, in the service of that objective, a particular system has been envisaged. And if the end is liberation, ultimately you are in the jungle, meditating, practicing austerities. The idea is liberation. If the end is liberation, then everything that you do in life must be keeping in mind that goal, right? So that should dictate what kind of studies you will undertake in your first 25 years, right? Because ultimately you have to be liberated. If you have to be liberated ultimately, then liberation must decide the kind of studies you will undertake as a student. If you have to be ultimately liberated, liberation should decide what kind of man or woman you would marry, what kind of family you would raise, what kind of relations would you keep, right? Liberation should be the decider, the arbiter, the sole determinant of anything and everything that you do in life. Right? But the ego finds it convenient to forget this. The ego says, now is my time to be with a woman. The ashram system says, once you are 25, you can marry. So now I will marry. And while marrying, I totally forget about liberation. Now I have the sanction of the ashram system supporting me. And the ashram system has said, you can marry. So I'll marry. And I'll choose the sexiest woman I can find and lay my hands on, irrespective of whether she will aid my spiritual journey or not. In fact, the spiritual objective is the last thing on your mind when you are looking for someone to cohabit with. Similarly, what to read, what to study, which subjects to take up. If liberation is the decider, then why will you take up fields of study that yield you merely material and worldly returns? But when we are studying, we say, you see, this is my age to study. The scriptures have instructed that way. Because the scriptures want me to be a student, therefore I am a student. But the scriptures are not about telling you the age till which you must continue to be a student. The one and only objective of the scriptures is liberation. Did you ask the scriptures whether you should enroll for the worthless course that currently interests you so much? Did you consult the scriptures? One particular industry is booming for some random reason. And related to that industry, some opportunistic university has floated a 2-year course or diploma. It is evident that if you enroll in that course, you will have great career prospects. So you jump in. Did you consult the scriptures? Did you? Masters in Meat Processing, MMP, a freshly launched course. 100% placement guaranteed. And you said, you see, I am such an obedient Brahmin boy. And I am a graduate at 22. The scriptures tell me to continue studying till 25. And here is this great course. Not that I am keenly interested, but the scriptures have instructed me. They are saying till 25. You must be a student. That's your ashram. So I am enrolling in the MMP course, Masters in Meat Processing. The ego is just using the scriptures to further its own greed. And then you enroll from the MMP program with a fat pay package, literally fat. All the fat that comes from the dead animals. And then the most slick of girls queue up for you. And you say, you see, now the scriptures are saying that I should marry. So I'll marry. And who's my choice to marry? Miss Rajsi. No, wait. There is somebody even more seductive than her. Miss Tamsi. And in a toss-up between Rajsi and Tamsi, Tamsi wins. And then there is rampage as you honeymoon on the moon. What are you earning all your monies for? Honey by your side, moon under your feet. I'm getting it. So the sage is warning the student. Son, nothing is absolute. If there must be something non-negotiable, even absolute for the ego, it is the ego's own liberation. Besides that, Nothing is sacrosanct. All else is dispensable. Your liberation is not. All rules can be broken. All vows can be broken. You are free to walk away from anything. If liberation is at stake, there is no need to honor any promises you made in the past. No promise, no obligation, no agreement, no responsibility is bigger than liberation. This is the Rishi's central message. Getting it? Similarly, dharma karma. Dharma is very singular. Dharma is responsibility. Dharma is liberation. But in the name of dharma, it becomes facile to practice all kinds of rituals. And then you say, this is religion. No, at the heart of religion lies the urge to be free. That alone is religion. Therefore, religiosity consists of doing everything possible to get rid of your chains. That alone is dharma karma. Not ritualistic chanting or pilgrimage or donations. Many such things. A certain festival is here. Let's offer animal sacrifice. How will this lead to your liberation? How will this help you get rid of your ego? The ego hasn't been lost. Very clearly, it is the animal's life that has been lost. Nothing more than that. And these things happen in the name of dharma karma. Therefore, the sage is saying, dharma karma is bondage. It is bondage because the ego finds it facile to forget the real objective in the maze of externalities and frivolities. Do this, do that, and forget what all this is really for. Keep yourself busy in the doing, in the deed, so that you may conveniently forget the state and the need of the doer. Remain externally busy so that you are exempted from looking into the internal abyss.